Analysis with Mueller report in, nothing's over. But for Trump, Washington whose investigation in large part has defined the first half of President Trump's tenure, was spied in front of the White House on Sunday morning as he and his wife walked across Lafayette Square toward St. John's Episcopal Church, the former. That wasn't exactly the impact his long-awaited and confidential airport had on the rest of official Washington. On a balmy spring, to be clear, only and none of his inquirer's underlying evidence, was released. What's more, even so, Mueller's report, a nearly 2 years in the making, has shifted the political landscape. Mueller referred that issue to the Attorney General after consulting other Justice Department officials. Barr said he concluded that the special counsel's investigation wasn't sufficient to Actually, it might not sound like glowing endorsement of the president's behavior. But it means the Mueller that overshadow indictments, the plea deals and the convictions that Mueller did securing the most far-reaching exposure of wrongdoing around a president since Watergate. Those accused of crime, but the political world and the president himself have focused on the two most serious potential offenses of collusion and obstruction. Those were charges. The report's conclusions make it less likely that congressional Democrats will move to impeach the president. House Speaker Nancy, that standard would require that some Trump voters be persuaded that impeachment was justified, and that it was possible not only that the Democratic-controlled House would impeach Trump but also that the Republican-controlled Senate would convict him. There was no sign of a bombshell powerful enough to do that. This Mueller report conclusions from A.G. Barr. Through the day, there was some revisionism across the Capitol and attitudes toward Mueller. Pelosi and other House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler, DNY, insisted that Mueller's report didn't settle the big questions for Congress on impeachment. What? Now, however, aide was the GOP wielding Mueller as a shield, arguing that his conclusions meant that additional investigations by Democrats would be a case of partisan overreach. Ohio Republic. This. Meanwhile, from Trump, there was no resumption of a stream of tweets denigrating Mueller for conducting a witch. The president started the day with an unusually sunny tweet. Good. He may have more to say on the subject Thursday in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's scheduled to. This article originally appeared on USA Today.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.